Hi, my name is Hazel, and this is my story. I met my husband in a running club. He enjoyed running, and so did I. There were times I couldn't even run because he made me laugh so hard. Al was a very loving man. He showered me with gifts, with flowers. My engagement ring was the diamond was in the shape of a heart. And he had purchased every imaginable heart necklace and every kind of gemstone you could imagine. And he would bring these gifts to me when I was at work so that people could see what a great guy he was. I would come home and he'd say, "I couldn't stop thinking about you all day. I heard this song and I just thought of you the whole time, and I just keep playing it over and over." A man after my own heart. It was too good to be true. I'm like, wow, this is the man of my dreams. And I had been looking for love in all the wrong places, but I needed a man's love, and I was so happy that I had finally found him. As time progressed, I could see little snippets of him showing fits of anger. I noticed that he would have to have like a stage where people noticed him and saw him. In time, I felt that there were some things that I questioned as to whether he really loved me or not. The affection faded. I had a difficult time having a conversation with him that was something other than the weather. I would let him know that I felt like there were problems, that I couldn't communicate with him, and he would either change the subject or he would just stop talking. I couldn't get him to express himself or to talk to me about things that mattered, and that was very, very discouraging. In time, I felt wasn't allowed to have friends. He found fault in the friends that I had and convinced me that they were no good for me. He started making fun of my family and distanced me from them as well. And all this time, he just put me in a cocoon of feeling helpless, but just so dependent on him. He was the only one that I was allowed to communicate with. My husband did pass away in 2017, and at the funeral, I just remember so many people coming up to me and saying, "Your husband was the best. He'd always make me laugh. I can remember him welcoming us at the doors, and you guys had the best marriage." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he was the best. He was great. We had the best marriage. And that was what I had been convinced to perceive. In February of 2021, which was Al's and my anniversary, we were married on Valentine's Day, I had already experienced 3 anniversaries, but this one for some reason really hit me. I kept crying. I became depressed and wasn't understanding why. And then I told the Lord I needed his help because I didn't understand what was going on. So he started to reveal to me what my marriage really was and who Al really was, with little snippets of memories. My friend Enza, who was the only friend I was allowed to have, she mentioned that Al was a narcissist, and I didn't understand who or what that was, and I ignored it. But the Lord, that was one of the first things the Lord brought to me. He said, "Like, do you remember that?" And that was the beginning of my journey of the revelation of the marriage. So the Lord continued almost daily revealing to me the truths of Al through little snippets of experiences that we had had. And as I learned more and more about narcissism, I realized this is narcissistic abuse. demeaning, blaming, having himself look good in front of other people, putting himself on a pedestal. He does no wrong. So you got to the point where you didn't question him because he was perfect. And there was no convincing him otherwise. And you'd been so groomed that you didn't know anything different. Part of narcissistic abuse is, again, putting you in that pot and just turning up the heat. And you are not aware that you are in an abusive relationship. Because he has groomed you that and convinced you that he loves you. Through love bombing, buying you flowers, portraying himself as a loving husband in front of others to you. You get convinced that that is who he is. But that is part of the narcissistic abuse. This journey of healing was almost a year long, and I had continued my counseling with a counselor here at Grace Church. And with his help, he helped me to process. Even though he was not a victim of abuse, he was still very understanding and accepting of me sharing with him what I was experiencing. So that was really a blessing, that as I continued to process, that he walked alongside with me. And during this time, my faith and my trust in God, it grew exponentially. He was so patient with me in the way that he only revealed enough that he gave me that healing. And he was just so compassionate. And my love for him just continued to grow. And as I started ending my counseling time here, I was feeling healthier and more positive about who I was. No longer not being seen, but being seen as who I really am. As I finished my counseling, I just started to grow in getting engaged in different ministries at Grace Church. Grace Church became and has become my family because my biological family is in heaven now. People embraced me during my grief. People came alongside me and encouraged me. And I'm so thankful that I have the ministries here to help others, to pour into people, to just love on people. And I feel like I'm in a very healthy place now. I am not beaten down, that I am seen by God and by others as Hazel. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, you aren't seen. You don't matter. And that's hard. But I would say, how does this person make you feel? Do you feel seen? Do you feel like you matter? Do you feel worth? And if you can answer no to those questions, then you need to seek help, to evaluate what's going on in your relationship, to realize that you are a child of God and that He loves you and you do not deserve the treatment that you're getting. And there is hope. There are people who have experienced it and they are willing to walk alongside with you. And I would encourage you to do that, to get involved, to seek help, because it's available. And God loves you.